Good afternoon, faculty of Walla Walla Community College. My name is John Van Slyke, and I'm the president of the Association for Higher Ed. I hope you're all doing well, feeling good about the holiday break that's soon to be here. In fact, it's probably here for some of you already. I know I'm putting some finishing touches on my quarter, and we'll look forward to taking some time off here starting very soon. I wanted to take a few minutes to check in with you and give you some what I hope will be good news about distribution of turnover savings and also some contingency funds that the administration here at Walla Walla Community College is making available for the purposes of raising faculty pay. So the purpose of this screencast is simply to inform you of what has been decided and hopefully answer most of the specific questions you might have about how money is being distributed and how it may and how it likely will affect your salary. So here we go. There's a familiar guy, comes around in December, and we're happy. I think I can speak both for the Association for Higher Education and also for the administration of Walla Walla Community College. Happy that this agreement was worked out in time for Christmas. In fact, everything I'm about to say will be reflected in your December 25th paycheck. So how's that for apropos? Okay, so first off, I want to talk to you a little bit, just briefly about sort of some of the challenges that we have experienced here at Walla Walla Community College in terms of faculty pay and some of the challenges of raising faculty pay such that our pay would be more competitive with our counterparts throughout the state. So about 8 years ago, the AHE and administration here at Walla Walla Community College agreed to a new salary schedule. And the new salary schedule, some of you are aware of the old salary schedule, but the new salary schedule was a little bit different. I'll spare you a lot of the details, but it's fair to say that the new salary schedule of the past 7 years has been highly dependent upon cost of living adjustments and increments that would be paid by the state legislature. Almost uncannily, from the moment that we began our adoption of this new salary schedule, both COLAs and increments from the state legislature have not been funded. Up until that time, you could almost bank on them. Since then, they've sort of gone the way of the dinosaur. So this has created some real problems for upward movement in our salary schedule. And in the time being, over the past 7 years, I think it's fair to say that one of the ways that the administration has compensated for the problems with our present salary schedule is by asking to increase the starting pay for faculty members. At times, it's also requested exceptional placements, meaning placing new faculty members above where they would actually naturally fit into the salary schedule based on their experience up until their time at Walla Walla Community College. And this has been a concern for AHE in terms of equity and fairness. So a real emphasis of the administration has been recruitment, because the current salary schedule makes it difficult. The starting pay is not one that has necessarily been competitive. It's not one that naturally brings or attracts new talent to our institution. From the AHE perspective, we have been concerned about retention. And those of you who've looked closely at the salary schedule, in fact, 33 of you, 33 full-time faculty at Walla Walla Community College, have experienced a rather frustrating situation where their experience at Walla Walla Community College has actually been valued less than if they had gained that same experience somewhere outside of Walla Walla Community College. So the double standard that's here on this slide refers to the fact that there are people who, if they started tomorrow at Walla Walla Community College with the same amount of experience as someone here, may very well be paid more. In fact, they would be paid more. Our current fix will address this frustrating double standard. But that's been essentially sort of the standoff, that difference between administration desire for more competitive recruitment, AHE concern about are we doing what we can and should to retain the talent that we do have. And all of this, you know, recruitment, retention aside, all of this happens in a statewide comparison where Walla Walla Community College, by average salary, is very low. We're in the bottom quartile. In fact, that's even putting it nicely. We're 30th out of 34 or something very close to that in terms of our average salary throughout the state. And in fairness to everyone involved, this is not a set of circumstances that either the administration or AHE is comfortable with. So we have been talking about it, and some ideas have come forward. So most of you probably know that every year when faculty retire and are no longer on the WWCC payroll, usually at a figure that's toward the top of their income potential, those people usually, hopefully, are replaced by a new faculty member. Usually new faculty members, normally their salaries are less than the old outgoing faculty members. And in those cases, the margin, the difference between the salary of the old versus the replacement, that becomes part of our overall turnover savings. So if we look at all of the faculty who left last year and that margin between what they were paid versus what new faculty who started this year are making, we had something around the lines of $54,364 in turnover savings. And you see here there was some carryover that we didn't use in our last distribution of turnover savings. So that grand total was $58,861. So every year that there is turnover savings, the association, AHE, meets with the administration to negotiate and discuss how to best use those turnover savings to distribute them amongst faculty. And so we went into this year, and by we I mean AHE, and we had a proposal. We had this $59,000 or so to deal with. And we proposed that that an increment, that various increments be distributed across faculty who comprise our workforce. And it's worth noting that an increment costs about $351. About $300 of that is just salary that's granted. $51 or so is retained for the purposes of benefits, you know, things like health benefits, things like workers' comp, your TIA CREF, so on and so forth. So $351 is the cost of each increment. We knew we had PIU increments. 36 faculty had earned a PIU increment, so we wanted those funded. First off, we wanted everyone that worked last year to get a seniority increment, and there were 81 of those, 81 full-time faculty. This doesn't actually include all faculty, because not all faculty throughout Walla Walla Community College are paid for by the legislature allocated funds. So WSP and some other campuses are examples of that. But out of these first 81 plus 36 increments, the seniority increments plus the PIU increments, we used $41,000. So there was still $17,000 left over. We had hoped that that money would be used to serve as what we called equity increments, and more on those in a second. So this was our proposal. This was the Association for Higher Education, and of course AHE doesn't have any ability to access additional funds. But the administration saw our proposal and proposed something a little bit different that brought even some more money on board. And they proposed digging into contingency funds, and they asked AHE if AHE would be willing to take the $18,000, that's $17,795, and pair it with this figure here, this $29,000 figure, so that there would be some $47,000 for the purposes of retention increments. And what this means, the retention increments as they're being described in this case, is any faculty member who would experience that current sort of frustrating double standard whereby if they were coming from outside of Walla Walla Community College, being hired tomorrow, they would actually make more than their same equivalent self who had been at Walla Walla Community College this whole time. So this $46,817 is being used to effectively replace 33 full-time faculty. And what that means is, as a result of this act, this distribution, 33 faculty will be replaced on the salary schedule in a way that they will be making the amount that they would be otherwise making up until now if they had been coming from outside and being placed in our institution. So this is a useful, at least short-term fix. It doesn't iron out, it doesn't fix a lot of the problems with our current salary schedule. That will still be something that will be taken care of in the future. This table here, I'm just going to breeze through it quickly, but Ruth Russo, the president-elect for AHE, was kind enough to put together this PowerPoint, so I'm essentially benefiting from her hard work that she used to try to explain this. And this this chart, this table, shows the movement of people who had previously been, in this central column here, we'll see the people who are going to be leaving this category. In this case, 5 people will be leaving step 3B, and they will join a plus. They will be moving to places like 4A, that's going to get 6 new people, or 5A, which is going to get, 10 new people. You'll notice that this column adds up to the same as this column. And these are people who will be moving, and their salaries will be reflecting that positive change, which is really exciting. This table, Ruth put this together just to kind of show again in graphic form. You'll see the net shift of people going from blue to red. It sort of provides you with a sense of the greater earnings that will be realized by this. Okay, also it's worth noting that what's going to happen is retention increments will be granted first. So if you were here teaching last year at Walla Walla Community College, you will automatically get 1 increment. So that is worth $351, probably $300 in pay. The remainder will be the benefit side of your increment. If you earned a PIU increment because of crossing a 15 PIU threshold last year, you will then have 2 increments because you'll have your PIU increment and your retention increment. Then, so these will be distributed first, and then if you're one of the 33 faculty who will be getting a retention equity increment, that will be applied after your first, after your seniority increment and a PIU increment, if that is a factor in your case. Here I'll just let you read that example if you see fit. So this is exciting, I think. I want to remind you it's not a permanent fix. AHE is at the table with the administration as we head into winter quarter, and one of the key objectives will be to work on a new salary schedule and see if we can't come to an agreement on a better system. And there's at least reasonable grounds for optimism that maybe a COLA will be forthcoming from the state legislature. Hard to say, I don't want to predict that, but it sounds a little bit more encouraging. This creates, at least for the time being, a more uniform standard which is good. I think the dignity and morale of that arrangement is much superior. It brings $30,000 in new funding from the administration, thank you, to the table for salaries, but a new